Hello, I am your host, Kathy Chester, and welcome to the Move It or Lose It podcast, a podcast about all things that move the mind, body, and soul. The Move It or Lose It podcast is for information, awareness, and inspirational purposes only. I am not a doctor, and I don't even play one on TV, so please consult your doctor before making any medical decisions. The views expressed by advertisers, guests, or contributors are their opinions and not necessarily the views of the Move It or Lose It podcast.
Do you know anyone that is struggling with walking or any spasticity in their body? I know that I do with multiple sclerosis and many people that I love. Well, not too long ago, I came across a company called Pulse Devices. Let me tell you, nothing like anything else I've ever tried before. Pulse device uses local vibration therapy, and it's based on years of scientific literature. It found the vibration to dramatically reduce spasticity and improve motor function for MS patients. Something, wow, I know that I can use and so many people can use. So if you want to pick up yours today, they're giving us at MS Disrupted, all caps, MS Disrupted, $30 off your Pulse device. Go grab it, see how you like it. Make sure that you use the coupon, and don't forget, they are a great company. If you do not like the product, they will take it back with a full refund. Thank you, Pulse Device.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Move It or Lose It. Today, I am so excited. It's been a bit of a, I don't know, Tiffany, what would you say? It's been a fun, exciting time to get you on our whole, trying to get this whole techie stuff to work today for our podcast. So we know it's going to be good. So welcome, Tiffany Kairos, right? Kairos. Dang, it's every time. I could say it 40 times and I will get it wrong. But you know, it's the MS thing. I don't know. We'll call it one of them.
Yeah, Karis, whatever you like. I don't
Well,
mind it one bit.
I love it. You look beautiful. I've been
Thank
so
you
excited to
too.
get you on and so excited to talk about and I was really honest with you before I came on that it's like we get so many. Once we've got one autoimmune disease, a lot of times we'll, catch another one, and I collect them like Pokemon cards. So,
That's a
and
good one.
sometimes we get tired of talking about them, and epilepsy is my newest one. And quite frankly, I kind of put my head in the sand and take my medicine and just think, I can't deal with another one. And when asked, questions, I'm like, whatever you think, doctor, I'm just so tired of having to deal with another one. So, talk to us about you and about your epilepsy. And you've been diagnosed for how long?
I'm on 16 years now.
Wow,
Yes,
16 years.
16 years.
So that's a long time. And
Yeah.
share with us what life was like for you before diagnosis, before you had epilepsy.
Oh, I was just riding the wind, loving life.
Yeah,
Um, just spending time with friends, driving my car with the window
mhm,
down, music up,
right.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
had all these types of plans in my head, of what I
sure.
wanted to do in the future and just,
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah.
And how, when you were diagnosed, how was it right after a seizure that you had?
Yeah, it's so amazing. I say amazing
Mm,
because I totally was not expecting that to happen. I was in my car
hmm.
driving to the store, and it was right before Christmas, and I was going to go shopping for presents,
Okay.
and everything was fine. I was in a great mood. I felt fantastic, a little sleepy because it
Uh-huh.
was in the morning. But, as I was driving along, my
Hmm.
muscles started to go limp like spaghetti noodles.
Really?
Yeah, and my vision just went into, like, tunnel vision,
Okay.
like, started fading into black, and I realized there was something wrong, and I didn't have enough time to, take care of this, so I
Right.
looked down at my foot, and I slid my foot over to the brake, and I just tapped it a little bit before I passed out. And I went
Wow.
through probably 2 front yards, over a curb, and slammed
My
into a tree.
goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was my
Wow.
second seizure.
My goodness. Wow.
Yeah,
So what from there, were you hospitalized then for injuries? And I'm just like, I'm sure you were.
I was. Thank
Oh,
God it was only whiplash.
okay.
My car took most of the damage, of course.
Yeah, but
But
goodness, you
yeah.
could have been so much worse.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Wow. So you went in and then they knew at that point?
Well, yeah, of course, first they knew because that was my second seizure. My
Okay.
first one was at 16 years old.
Okay.
And then, of course, they ran a bunch of tests,
hmm
which, verified that I
Right.
was having seizure activity in the brain.
Right.
So they diagnosed me with epilepsy.
Wow. Wow. And so once you were diagnosed, what did you feel? You were how old again?
When I was diagnosed,
Yeah.
I was 22.
Okay, so I was diagnosed with MS a couple years after that. So that really changes things when when like we talked about, you've got your whole life ahead of you and
Yeah.
you're young when sometimes we get these diagnoses and we're young and it's like, what is this? What does it
Yeah.
mean for us? How does it change our life? And what do we do with it? And
Yeah.
so how did it change things for you once you had that diagnosis?
Well, first off, I was newly married,
Mm,
only 4 months. So that was just like a total, wrecking ball in our lives. We
sure,
we really had to map out how we were going to navigate life with
right.
epilepsy. And, just being married, we
Yeah,
just got in the house. So we had to make a lot of adjustments
right.
quickly,
Sure.
quickly. I quit my job.
Uh,
I could no longer drive, so I needed to figure out how I could, get around
right.
um, without, without my being able to do that on my own.
Right.
And
Sure.
I needed to really, uh, how would I put that? Uh, take control of my emotions because it
Yeah.
was hard at first. It was really hard
Sure.
because something like that, is a heavy weight that just falls on you.
Absolutely. It's
And
a big diagnosis to
it
get and a
is,
big
it is.
change. So, when would you say that you came to a place where you just kind of accepted it? That this is okay, this
Mhm.
is my journey, and I'm
Yeah.
going to now start to kind of change, reframe it, and start to advocate.
Well, it took me about 2 years
Yeah.
because in that time span, I had to learn about epilepsy and seizures. I
Yeah.
had to make adjustments to my life.
Right.
Both me and my husband had to do
hmm
that. And I just really had to, like I said, navigate my emotions and
Sure.
find support because
Absolutely.
I didn't know anybody else
Yeah.
that had epilepsy. So
Right.
I needed to find support. And I did that with support groups
Mm.
online, social
Yeah.
media,
Right.
and that was a huge help. That
Yeah.
was a huge help meeting others who
For
were
sure.
like me.
Yeah. To find someone like you is just there's not a lot of work. I mean, it's like home. It's that feeling like when you're able to share with people who understand what you have. It's
Yeah.
like, you can share with your spouse, your friends, and
Mm.
they get that there's something wrong. They love you, they want to help, but it's not the same. They don't understand
Yeah.
the feelings of fear, concern, and the pain and the all the stuff, the not sleeping and the stress that we have with this stuff. That
Mm.
when it's just different, we can talk to each other and say, oh, today was bad. Yesterday was last night was a struggle to sleep and
Right.
it's that understanding that we have when we can just sit in those support groups and with friends
Mhm.
that have it. And social media for you has been so big. And I think it's so wise to wait a bit when we're
Mhm.
diagnosed because
Mhm.
you were exactly right. We have to understand what it is we have and,
Yes.
kind of I always say make with MS or epilepsy, any of those things, it's like that visitor that came and is never going to leave. And we have to
Yeah.
make some kind of space and peace with it and
Mhm.
understand, okay, how am I going to do life with this around and not let it take over everything and
Right.
own me? And so you made a beautiful way of doing that in your advocacy. And tell us how, I don't want to jump ahead. So tell us what came first. How did you begin that?
Actually, it's amazing. My husband is a graphic designer.
Mm.
So, after 2 years, after I mended my broken wings, if you will, he helped me to develop an online community, which was Facebook first,
Mm-hmm.
and that was called the Epilepsy Network.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so inspired
Yeah.
by those who helped me
Sure.
that I wanted to give back and help them. So I
Yeah.
created this online organization, and then we developed the website, and
Yeah.
we, hopped over to other platforms. And my husband helped to develop content and the website and just the whole look
It's
of TED.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
It's really,
And
really is a beautiful website.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that so much. And,
Yeah.
I got to give credit to him. He's amazing.
It's
And,
really great to have someone techie and can do the graphic design stuff, and
I
that's
know. And
great.
actually, I learned a lot.
Yeah, I bet you did. I bet. Yeah,
And,
that's wonderful.
simultaneously, I created a blog too because I
Yeah,
was ready. I felt
right.
ready to tell my story.
The Move It or Lose It podcast is proudly sponsored by Disrupting MS Together, designed to help you take control of your wellness while living with multiple sclerosis. Disrupting MS Together aims to increase mobility through functional movement. Coaches Kathy Chester and Mally Witt seek to connect the mind, body, and spirit with guided, focused online workouts and coaching. You'll get targeted workouts sent directly to your email and Q&A sessions with licensed coaches, early access to podcast episodes with experts in the industry, group workout sessions through Zoom, and curated content that you won't find anywhere else. Early bird pricing is only available for the pilot program, so don't wait. Check it out now. The program includes a tremendous amount of benefit from seasoned coaches who also live and thrive with multiple sclerosis. Learn more and take the leap today. Visit www.msdisrupted.com to learn more and snag your spot now while you can. I love
So,
that. I love that you have the blog. I love that you share the stories. I went in a little bit and where you share about like things that are helpful, like the weighted blankets and stuff like that. And I
mhm.
thought that was interesting because I love to have the weighted blanket.
Yeah.
And some of, people with MS are like, oh, I can't stand that. And so then it got me curious. Okay, is it the epilepsy that likes the weighted blanket or the rheumatoid? What part of me likes that weighted blanket so much? But
Yeah.
I love that security of having a
Yes.
weighted pillow or weighted blanket on me. So
Mhm.
do you find that there is a lot of people with epilepsy that feel secure with that?
I think, it depends on the person. I can't speak
Yeah,
for everybody, but it depends
right.
on the person. I know it does for me. I
Yeah,
I really enjoy the weighted blankets and the
yeah,
weighted pillows. Just having something to hug and hold on
yeah,
to and have something that can just, be with you and lay on you. That's comforting to me.
right.
That's
Sure.
stress relieving to
Yeah,
me. And
right.
stress is one of the biggest seizure triggers.
For sure.
So I try and turn to things that relieve stress because I
Right.
want to avoid having a seizure, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some of the things that you've done, like for yourself to avoid them? Like, do you have a routine, like in the evening, to kind of wind yourself down?
Oh yeah, definitely. I limit my social media
Hmm.
activity because screen time, I don't
Right.
really want to just overwhelm myself with too much screen
Yeah.
time. And I definitely limit my caffeine. There was a
Yeah.
point in time where I couldn't have any caffeine, but
Okay.
then, I was able to have a little bit of caffeine. So I try and just avoid my triggers. I do my
Yeah.
best. If I find myself in a situation where it's overwhelmingly stressful, I have to just bow out and say, "Sorry, can't do
Yeah.
it," you
It's
know?
so good that you do that because I know a lot of times for a lot of us, it's really tricky to do. And it's like once we get there, it's so much easier for us to just
Mhm.
say, my body says no, and I'm going to have to
Right,
listen to that. And so
right.
do you find it more difficult around like the holiday season?
That can be tricky.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to really plan it out ahead of time so that I know what
Yes,
I'm expecting, what to, expect, and if I need to make any adjustments to the
sure.
routine, so
Yeah,
that's one thing that we do is, we know what to expect and we plan ahead of time.
yeah, I love that. So talk to me about the community that you've created. Talk to me about the community that you sit with, that you talk with epilepsy.
Oh, the community is just
Yeah,
so
the
great.
network
Um,
and
yeah, the Epilepsy Network, it has almost 30,000 followers
wow.
on Facebook, which that's a blessing. And
Yeah.
they are people from all over the world. And they're patients, they're caregivers, some are doctors, some are
Uh,
just, average individuals who just want to
right.
know more about epilepsy. And, we just share content to educate,
Yeah.
and we just share content to bring people together so we can, feel less alone and to break
Right.
down those stigmas.
Right. Right. I was reading even in that how you talk about stuff that's so important that people don't realize how many different kinds of epilepsy there are. And
Oh,
so you talked
yeah.
about driving and about how you have that seizure during that time, and
Mm-hmm.
how people often think about they had a seizure. Oh, she was laying down, and so she
Yeah.
must have been like we have to make sure her tongue's out of the way and turn her on her side,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they think that is definitely the only seizure that there is. And so
Yep.
there's so much education. And I have a seizure that you won't, it's a specific time in the night. And they happen to be a
Oh,
very violent kind of seizure. I'm thrashing all over. And it happens to be one that I had spinal meningitis as a child. And that's a
okay.
precursor to this kind of seizure, this kind of
Oh,
epilepsy. I would have
okay.
never known about that. So there are
Mhm.
so many different kinds. And
Yeah, there's over 30 types. Over
right.
30 types, yeah.
And so it's like there's so much education that still needs to be out there to understand what exactly epilepsy is. And to,
Hmm.
the assumption that there's only this. Like
Yes.
you, I often, people will be terrified that I'm going to, be lying down and biting my tongue. And I'm like, no, that's not what I have.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I love that you work so hard in spreading awareness and educating. What is some of the things that you have felt on some of the stories that you've been able to kind of feel when you've been able to advocate inside the network that have touched you the most?
Oh, what touches me the most is I talk with a lot of parents,
Mm,
and they ask me questions about how they can help their child feel more confident in
sure.
talking about their epilepsy and, feel more secure when they, say, go to school
Yeah.
or are amongst their friends. And that touches me because
Yeah.
I'm not able to have children.
Okay.
And, that's amazing to me
Yeah.
that, I have parents come to me asking for advice, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I can do my best.
Right. Right. And a gift for you that you get to work with the kids, and I bet they love you.
Oh, and I love them. I
You
love
just
them.
have that personality that I bet they're very drawn to you. So I bet that works out very nice. And you've got your kitties. So I saw
Oh
one
gosh,
scoop eye.
yes, that was Idney.
Okay. So you have two
Oh, yeah.
kitties, right?
2 kitties, yes. If I had it
Nice.
my way, I'd have, like, probably 5.
Then you'd be that crazy cat lady. So we
I
can't have
would.
that.
I would.
I understand. I know I've got my golden retriever somewhere. I know she'll be peeking in on me soon. But I know I'd have definitely another one of her if I could. So they just get so attached to you, and you just are. It's such a great thing. I think when we're struggling through these different, exciting diseases, to have that
I
support and
know.
that love, and just, we need to just have something to hold on to and snuggle with, and
Oh, oh,
it's a
yeah,
nice
for
thing.
sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've been married for how long now?
Oh, I've been married just as long as I've had epilepsy, which is
Right.
16 years, yeah.
Okay. So you stuck through all this, and
Mhm.
you do such a beautiful job of sharing your own journey. And talk to me about, you've been on a lot of different websites, you've been interviewed and stuff. Talk to me about some of those. What were you most excited about or most surprised about? Which one were you like, what? I'm getting invited to do what?
That is such a blessing to be able to be invited to talk about my story. And the thing that matters most to me is to be able to educate
Oh,
those
sure.
about epilepsy and to raise
Hmm.
awareness, because the more awareness that I can put out there, the better.
Absolutely. It is always very exciting to be able to do that because it's a gift to be able to share what we have, what we're struggling with, to create that awareness. And you never know who
Yeah.
you're touching, who it is out there that's listening at that specific time that you're
Yeah.
really being able to share and give that knowledge to. So
Yeah.
that's really neat. So you've got the blog and the author Rise Above. So talk to me about that, the Rise Above.
Yeah, Rise Above Epilepsy. I created that simultaneously when I created the Epilepsy Network. That's when I felt confident enough to tell my story.
Mhm.
And I just decided I want to be able to not only tell my story, but offer some advice and tips that I have gained along my journey so I
Right.
can help others who are on their journey. And we can
Sure.
learn from one another, and I can just, we can help one another on this journey. We're not
Absolutely.
alone.
Yeah, I love that you do that. So that takes a lot of time to do. And I love that you do that because I know for me, I'm always trying to get in and say, "Oh shoot, this time I need to do the newsletter." And "Oh, I've got to get this book in there." And so I love that you do a really good job of keeping up with that and letting them know tips. And I always am trying to work on, like, it was definitely, it convicted me a bit. I was like, "Oh, I got to keep, remembering that," because I get asked a lot, "What are you reading?" or what is the tip for this? And and I've got to make sure, but it's beautiful that you do that because a lot of times, people are just searching for, give me like a tip for this. Like, how do I just move better in the day with this?
Yeah.
And so I was reading through and I thought you just have some really beautiful things in there that can be just so helpful, or things that you just forget, you
Yeah,
know?
oh yeah. Not only do I think about, what would I want to know, but it's like
Right.
I ask people, what do you want to know? What matters to you?
Sure.
That way that just lets me know, oh, let me write about this so that you
Yeah.
can have that and maybe someone else can have it that they want to
For
know.
sure, absolutely. So Tiffany, talk to me about, like, moving forward. Where do you see yourself moving in this community? What are some things you'd like to do?
Well, I've begun doing it, but I'd like to continue doing it and maybe going a little further. I've started to go to colleges and speaking to classes.
Yeah, I love that.
And yeah, I would like to be able to go to more places and, talk to more audiences
Yeah,
live to
very
be able
good.
to do that.
It's so helpful. And I know that when I started doing more speaking, it really is, it's fun, and it also is such a blessing. It's something that, I never take for granted, that opportunity to be able to share and spread
Mm,
that awareness in, being live. And I think COVID really helped us to appreciate that time that we're together live,
yes,
after being apart for so long.
yes.
Um, on the other hand, it was a beautiful time of coming together with social media in a place
Hmm.
that we, never were able to. But wow, did we really come together and social media during that time. But even the most introverted of us became very lonely and very much wanted social, just come together. So it's been very nice to speak again and to be together live for sure. So definitely appreciate that. So more speaking, which I'm sure won't be difficult. You have such a lovely personality, and I know people in schools will want to have you. So doing more of that, and what else do you think?
Oh, well, my husband has been on me about this, and I've been on myself about this. I would like to write a book.
Yes, I mean that's where I'm at right now,
I
and
would love
that's, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's like, when, but I know that that's something I've been asked to do, and I need to just. I had a really great person I interviewed just make it so much easier. It's just like start with like a little bit of the day, like what's on your mind that day, instead of
Mm,
thinking chapter by chapter. Just start
yeah,
thinking, okay, what, dictating or whatever, like, oh, this is a good part. This is what I want to talk about. And this is what I
yeah.
want to share in the book. And I thought that feels easier to me. then thinking, okay, I've got to write a chapter, So
Yeah.
maybe that helps. So,
Yeah. I'll
well,
take all the information and tips I can get.
right? I'm always like, oh, help me with this. So, well, that sounds great. Well, Tiffany, I'm definitely gonna want to check in to see where you are from
Thank you.
here. And the blogs and stuff, keep them coming. So let us know, where can we find you? And it'll be on the bottom of the show notes when this airs. So don't feel like you guys need to stop your car. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, X, Pinterest, Facebook, and yeah, and
Don't
even
say
web.
TikTok, because I think that's leaving, right?
I
I keep
know.
hearing that. I'm like,
I was gonna say TikTok, but I don't know
but
so
I
much
know.
anymore. But and
We
even my
hear it's
blog.
going, then it's not, then it is, then
Ooh.
it's, yeah, your blog. I love that. That's one of the things I really want to do. And I struggle with blogging because of the rheumatoid. So I struggle with doing blogs. I'm like, oh, I really want to do more of that. So, but that, like, kudos to you, like blogging and all that. It's beautiful. So don't stop. If you've not read her
Not
blogs,
going to.
get on and read her blogs. They're beautiful. And if you have epilepsy and you're not sure, my goodness, Tiffany, you've got a wealth of knowledge about epilepsy and ways to make it more comfortable, ways to get through the day. And so, if this is new to you or not new to you, and you just need a refresher, I would say get onto her page, get onto your blog, because I was so impressed by how you have it laid out and how you have everything done. So get onto this woman's page and learn some stuff you don't know, especially for family members too that have some questions. Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, Tiffany, it's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit better and to interview you. And I'm excited to get feedback from this interview and see how all of our listeners thought and how exciting this was to have you on finally. And it worked. The technical world finally looked and shined on us. So um, again, so great to have you on, Tiffany. I hope that
It was an
that you
honor.
just, yeah, I hope that you just carry on with all that you're going to do. And I can't wait to hear about how famous this speaker will be. I just
You're
think
so
you're
nice.
I just can't wait to see how much you changed the world for epilepsy.
Oh
So
my gosh. Thank you so
big
much.
thanks for you. So, guys, lots of joyful things with Tiffany. I can't wait for you guys to give me feedback on how you love this podcast today. Don't forget to not only listen, but subscribe to Move It or Lose It. And Tiffany, thank you so much. We so enjoyed you, and we'll have you back again. Absolutely. So, guys, enjoy, and we'll see you back at Move It or Lose It in 2 weeks. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Move It or Lose It podcast. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed and left a review. Remember, you can find me on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. New episodes of the Move It or Lose It podcast air every other Wednesday. If you have any suggestions for future guests or topics, please visit my website at www.msdisrupted.com. Until next time.